Welcome, everybody, to the You Are Worthy Network. I am your host, Steve Wormer, and I'm super grateful to be with you guys today. Are you kidding me? I get to do this. I get to hopefully encourage you guys a little bit, bring a little hope into a dark world. I get to meet the most exciting people that are successful, but it's more than just their success. It's what they've overcome. It's their resilience. It's their grit. It's their determination. It's their stick to itiveness when life is tough. Because a part of why you probably joined this group is something in the name resonated with you. You are worthy. And I get to be the one every single time I go live. I get to remind you that you're worthy of love, respect, and success. And your story's not over yet. Some of the best chapters are still to come. That's my spiel for today. I appreciate each and every one of you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Steve, be quiet. Just introduce us to the awesome guest you have. Okay, I'll obey. I want you guys to meet my new friend, an amazing entrepreneur. Cheree Sauer is a business and leadership speaker, performance coach, and creator of the RAMP method, a proprietary performance framework that challenges one of today's biggest myths about success, that success requires constant sacrifice. Drawing on a master's degree in sports psychology, 14 years of experience working with high performing athletes, and more than 20 years as an entrepreneur, she helps audiences discover that most high achievers have never been taught how to recover, the very skill that makes sustained peak performance possible. Through practical, actionable strategies, Cheree equips audiences to strengthen leadership, increase capacity, and build healthier, high performing teams without sacrificing what matters most. Now, wait a minute. I want to know some of these answers now. You've got me intrigued, but I'll wait. Cheree, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. I just the name You Are Worthy resonates with me, and I just love the message that you're putting out into the world. So it's an honor to be here with you and everybody watching today.
Oh, thank you. I've looked forward to our conversation for, I guess we booked this, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 weeks ago, and I've been looking forward to it ever since. I know it's going to be great. So why don't you tell folks one of the extremely big blessings that I'm grateful for is that this group is now over 18,000 people,
Wow.
and there's people that potentially could watch all over the world. What part of the world do you live in and call home?
Yeah, so I am in Spokane, Washington. So if anybody doesn't know, Seattle, Washington is about 4.5, 5 hours west of where I am. So little Spokane, not such a small town. It's becoming more well known, but we are pretty small compared to, Seattle.
Spokane is kind of got a little entrepreneur hub to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, Spokane is a huge small business entrepreneur, tons of amazing support here. Like our library, the support of our library is insane what they provide for free for business owners. So it's a really great place to be an entrepreneur.
That's so good. Is it raining today?
No, it's beautiful here, but it is smoky. If you look at a map of the United States, all of the fires are concentrated in the Pacific Northwest. So
Mm.
we're like kind of in a valley, so we get all of the smoke from Canada, Oregon, California, Idaho, Spokane. We get it all.
Wow.
So whether we get like a month of summer and then the rest is smoke season.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So tell us who you do life with there in Spokane.
Yeah, so I've been married to my husband. We'll be married coming up August 19th for 20 years, which is so crazy to say.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
I don't even feel like I should be that old to be married for 20 years. And then we have two boys who are 14 and 12.
Okay. Busy lifetime. Definitely that
Yeah,
season, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so let's do the well, let me ask you this before I move on to this. What do the four of you, what, I know it's getting harder with the 14 and 12-year-old, and that will only get harder the next couple of years. But when you're all together, what do you guys like to do for fun?
Yeah, that's a good question. Couple things. Well, we love playing family games, but not all of us agree on what those family games are. So my boys are like exact opposites, so that's always a little bit tricky. But my husband and I, like, we love being outside and adventuring and camping. And the boys, as they get older, they're like liking it a little less. But we love doing adventurous things. Like we love going to Silverwood and roller coasters, and we traveled in an RV for 3 years and traveled the country. And
Wow.
so experiences are really, really important to us. That's where we put a lot of our time, energy, and money is into experiences. And then we also love just family movies and America's Got Talent and those things too. So,
Very, very cool. And you might have tipped your hand to one of the answers on this or that. Let's play.
uh-oh.
Hotel or camping?
Oh, it depends. Camping.
By the way, I didn't set you up right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's my fault. So don't overthink it. First thing that comes to mind, and I'll let you say both on one answer.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
camping or hotel?
Camping.
I thought you would.
Yeah.
Small town or big city?
Small town.
Read the book or watch the movie?
Oh, watch the
Yeah.
movie.
Books or podcast?
Podcasts.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Ice cream or pie?
Oh, ice cream.
What flavor?
Anything chocolate.
Now, I see you answered my next question. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate all the way.
Chocolate. Yep, I'm with you. Mountains or ocean?
Ocean.
Drive or fly?
Fly.
Rock or country?
As far as like music,
Mm-hmm.
rock.
Okay. Okay. And lastly, dogs or cats?
Oh, that's so hard. Dogs.
Okay. And you didn't use any, both.
I did on my first one, so
Did- on
well,
the
oh,
camping?
that's true. I did change my answer afterwards. You're right. Dang
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like a lot of those. I'm like, it really depends. Those are really hard questions.
I know, right? But it gives us great insight and a little bit of what you like, what your preferences are. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump back into the time machine. And I do this every time. Every time I think I'm getting redundant, which I probably am, I can't stop doing it because the guests and well, most of the time they enjoy this experience and the viewers enjoy it. Let's go back to high school for you.
Yeah.
Let's go back to right before graduation. You're a senior. Graduation's on Friday night. It's Wednesday afternoon. You've got your cap and your gown. Maybe you've got a class ring. Um, you're 48 hours away from being done with this season of life that's so important for your development, right? There's no right or wrong answer. We're just trying to find out where you were. Are you in that place of, gosh, how'd that happen so fast? What am I going to do? I'm going to miss this place. I guess I should get a job. I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do. I guess I got to get serious about this thing called life. I'm an adult. Or are you, oh my gosh, is this 48 hours going to go by any slower? I mean, I got senioritis. Let's go. I got the beach ball at Walmart to kick this thing off Friday night. I've got a job. I'm going to keep that through the summer. I know what I'm doing in the fall. I've got a plan for my life. Let's go. Or are you somewhere in between? Tell us where you
Uh,
were.
I had a plan for life. I was going to college and I was excited to get into those dorms and get college started for sure. So I've been a high achiever my whole life. So Achievement has always been just a part of me and who I am. So I just love learning. And yeah, I was definitely like, I've got the plan. Let's go.
Okay, so at that stage of life, tell us what the plan was. Where were you going to go to school? Did you know what you, I'm sure the answer to this is yes, based on what you said. Did you know what you wanted to major in and what career you were going to take?
Yeah, so when I originally was looking at University of Washington or bigger schools, bigger colleges, and then I chose physical therapy and Eastern Washington University here locally, which is just 30 minutes from Spokane, had a really good physical therapy program. And so I went to Eastern with that in mind, and then I ended up switching to athletic training.
Okay. And so you get your degree. Um, did you go right into that field or was there a detour or two?
Yeah, trying to remember. Um, I was really interested in physical therapy, and I had interned at a PT office, and I had heard about an athletic trainer, but I didn't really quite understand what an athletic trainer did, and so I pursued physical therapy. And then I was in a biology class, and a friend was switching his major from PT to athletic training, and I was like, "Tell me more about that." And so he told me more, and I became really interested in it. And I switched to athletic training, and I pretty much stuck with athletic training. And then toward the end of college, I started looking back into physical therapy and had the intention to go back into physical therapy. And I actually ended up back in athletic training. So it was a little bit of a flip-flop back and forth, but it was always one of those two tracks. At one point, I think I had considered being like a pediatric physician, but in the end, I just really love like therapy and helping people. So,
Okay. So you got your actual degree in athletic training?
yep, I did. Yeah.
Okay. And so what did you do with it early on?
So I worked for a physical therapy clinic as an athletic trainer, as an assistant for a little bit while I was working on my prereqs for physical therapy. I did that and became a personal trainer. I ran their wellness center that they had. And then I started to really miss sports and athletic training. And one of the things I recognized in physical therapy working at a clinic is there's a lot of insurance and a lot of paperwork and a lot of hoops to jump through. And I'm like, I just want to help people. And so I actually went back for my master's, um, be, went back for my master's in athletic training. You work on your master's degree while you're working as an athletic trainer. So you're working with a sport. And I did my master's degree in sports psychology.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's go back because I'm guessing, even though I didn't ask you this, did you play a lot of sports when you were growing up?
I did. I played soccer pretty much my whole life, and then dabbled in other sports here and there. But soccer and track were the hurdles in track. Those were my main sports. But I loved volleyball and basketball. I just wasn't as strong in those. So
Okay. So the hurdles are we talking 100 meter or 400?
400 was my specialty. I was actually
Ooh,
terrible at the 100, but they made me do them.
that 400's kind of a brutal race
It
with
is
hurdles, isn't it?
brutal. Yeah, I kind
Yeah.
of actually liken it to what burnout feels like because when you hit that last quarter of the track and you just hit that wall and you just have nothing left and you're just moving your body like and not everybody can relate to that if they haven't ran the 400, but that's what it feels like because it's just a sprint around the whole track, right? But it
Mm.
was so fun. I did the 400 and then I did the 400 hurdles by accident because I was just messing around on them and my coach was like, "You're going to do the 400 hurdles too." I was like, "Okay."
Wow. Did you ever do the 800?
No, no, I did
Okay.
not have that endurance. I wasn't like
I
a super fast short sprinter, but I wasn't like a good long distance person either. I was like right in the middle. So,
800's brutal. You described it well. It's like sprinting endurance. It's like
yeah,
almost an all-out sprint, but not quite. But for 800 meters, that's brutal.
yeah,
Anyway, I digress.
yeah.
How long did you stay in the PT arena?
So, um, my first, I'm trying to remember. I don't even know. I think my freshman year, I was going PT. Then the athletic training program, you had to apply as a sophomore. So I went into athletic training, did that sophomore, junior, senior year. Then in my senior year, I decided maybe I want to go back into physical therapy. Partly because physical therapy paid more, the schedule was better, but I just was like, I can't just sit in a clinic day and day. Like I need variety. I need people. And I loved working with athletes. They're so fun to work with and they're high performers. And it's fun to help them and see them perform at their best and really get to help take care of them. So, um, I wasn't really in physical therapy. I mean, I like dabbled back and forth, but for athletic training, I was in that for 14 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So at what point tell us, because you've been an entrepreneur now, if I remember correctly, for 20 plus years.
Yeah. Yep.
Did something happen that kind of nudged you hard in that direction, or was it just a conscientious choice that I got to get out and help more people?
My dad was a business owner, and so he kind of always instilled that in me when I was younger. So I just kind of always had that entrepreneurial spirit in a way, but it didn't really kick in. I had done direct sales in my early 20s, while I was working on my degree and doing other things. And so that's kind of where my entrepreneurial journey started. But then I really fully leaned into my career. And toward the end of that career, I had children. And I had my first son and I had quit. And then they hired me back into a different position that was teaching and athletic training. So it was a better schedule. And then I had my second child and I was tired of working nights and weekends and everybody having access to me for 24/7. I had gotten a phone call on Christmas Day and from an athlete and I was like, done. Like I'm done. Like there's zero boundaries. On my days off, I was working when my oldest was about 8 months old. I ended up traveling for almost 6 weeks straight. I would travel for 5 or 6 days. I would get home for a day, and then my day off was a travel day. So I wouldn't even get home until halfway through the day, and that was my only day off. And then I would travel again another 4 days, and it was just brutal. Just
Mm,
not doable for a new mom. And so when they rehired me, I was teaching and doing athletic training. So I had more of an 8 to 5 schedule, but I still traveled on the weekends. I still missed, some holidays with my kids. And I just got to a point where I didn't love teaching. I loved being in the clinic. I loved teaching athletic trainings, like hands-on skills, but I did not love lecturing. I didn't like speaking at the time, which is really weird now. Um, but I took a leap of faith and I became a stay-at-home mom. And I thought it was gonna be cupcakes and rainbows and dinner was gonna be on the table by 5, and it's not what happened.
sounds like there's a story in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, tell us more. So tell us about the decision to leave what you knew behind and obviously focus on family. Um, but did you have a plan? Was there a succession plan, or was it I'm just going to focus on the kids and my hhusband right now?
Yeah, I not really. I just knew I was done. I just knew I couldn't keep up with that pace anymore. Um, it was too stressful, and so I just was done.
Hmm.
I had looked at different things. I had looked at going back into massage therapy school. I'd actually looked at going back into physical therapy. I had looked at different things, but I was like, I don't want to take out more student loans. I don't want to spend another 3 years in college. Um, and so I really just was like, okay, I'm just going to be the stay-at-home mom. It was financially challenging because we suddenly went to one income. Um, and after 4 months, I like hated my life and I resented my kids. And
Mm,
hindsight 2020, I had been a high achiever my entire life. And so being at home with kids who needed my constant attention and just doing chores and I couldn't get them to stop crying or fighting. It hit all of my failure buttons and I felt I mean I didn't recognize this at the time, but I felt kind of worthless. Like I didn't know what my value was. I felt really overwhelmed trying to keep up with just the house and the kids. And I had this perception that it was going to be so much easier and I was going to be the peaceful mom that never yelled at my kids. Like I was the perfect mom before I had children, right? Anybody that's listening to this, like, you know that. So, I remember my husband asking me, he was like, "Do you need to go back to work?" And I was like, Yes, like, yes, I do. This is not healthy for me. It's not healthy for the kids for us to be together 24/7. I had pulled them out of daycare, so they weren't getting any socialization. We were just together all the time, and it was not good. So I had actually gotten hired back into a position where I worked for a sports medicine physician, and I was just working 2 days a week. And that was wonderful because I got to use my skills. I got out of the house. I got to be me. Excuse me, sorry. And then when I was home with my kids, I could be fully present with them. So that was a much better fit for me. Um, and then that is I'm trying to remember right around that time, my husband podcasts had just started coming out, and my husband had told me about the Christy Wright podcast. And at the time she was on Dave Ramsey's
Hmm.
team. And she was a business coach and she was talking about businesses. And I had started dabbling back into direct sales. I did Norwex, it's like cleaning products. And so I kind of did both of those things at the same time. And then the clinic that I was at ended up getting downsized. We got bought out by a bigger clinic and they capsized our whole clinic. And so I lost my job, which was really challenging. Like talk about worthy, right? Like I had never been fired from anything in my life. So all of a sudden I was getting fired from this position for nothing I did wrong. But I was the first one to get caught from that clinic because I was the one without the training, you don't get insurance. And so I was the one that wasn't bringing direct income in for the clinic. So it was costing them too much. So um anyway, got let go from there. And I went to the unemployment office and they had this option where you could instead of looking for jobs, you could take business classes. And so I went and I took business classes and I had the idea to start a self-care gift box company for moms. And that was one of the things as a stay-at-home mom when it was really hard and I was resenting my kids, I realized that I needed to learn how to take care of me mentally, emotionally, physically, so I didn't just explode all over my kids anytime they did something wrong. And so self-care became really important to me, and it became really important for me to teach other moms at the time that they needed to take care of themselves. And that obviously has since transitioned. I don't have that gift box company anymore, but that was, other than direct sales, like that was the real, um, it's just a different level, right? Because direct sales, like somebody else creates it for you, or starting your own business, like you are starting something from scratch and you're building it up. And I did that for 3 years before I decided to let that go, which is like it's like letting your baby go. So, yeah,
Let's let's focus for a second on going back to that time. I definitely want to hear how the gift box was maybe, and I don't know if this is the right term, but maybe a launching pad to more.
yeah, yeah,
But let's go back for a second to what you were feeling when, through no fault of your own, you lost that job.
yeah.
And that it sounds like that job was such an answered prayer at the time because you wanted the work, you're a high achiever, like you said. Um, and it's going to get you out of the house, it's going to get you productive, it's going to get you providing income for the family. It sounds like it was needed. And then it sounds like you weren't in that role very long, right?
About a year.
It's relatively short. I mean, so in a year, that's taken away. What's going on with your self-worth, your identity during that
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. The interesting thing is prior to that, I would say it was more of an identity crisis before I got that job, right? Like just being a stay-at-home mom, that was my biggest identity crisis.
Mm.
Um, and I remember just sitting at the kitchen table, like just literally like crying out to God and just praying, like, God, like I know you didn't give me this life and these children for me to hate my life and for me to resent my kids. Like, what is wrong with me? And I remember just praying, like, I remember thinking like if I just had a bigger house, then I would be happy. If my kids just behaved, then I would be more joyful and peaceful. If my husband just did XYZ, right? And so I'm praying for God to change our circumstances to make my kids behave. And I remember so clearly, he said, Cheree, your circumstances and your family are not the problem. You are the problem. And I was like, oh, like talk about a gut punch, right? And that is what really pushed me into personal development and understanding like what's going on in my body and why am I reacting this way? Like what is happening? Because I just felt in that season, I felt so um I don't know the word, identity crisis, right? Like I felt mentally, emotionally, physically tapped my entire life. I was really good at pushing down trauma and pain and I just achieved, right? I achieved my way through
Hmm.
it until I was put in this situation where I couldn't achieve my way through it. And I was like, what do I do, right? Like how do I get through this? And that's honestly where I had become a Christian in 2006 when we got married, but I never really felt like I could hear God, like I'd read the Bible. I didn't really ever feel like I had a relationship with God. And it was in that moment that like that changed a lot for me. And I had read this book called Too Busy Not to Pray and it had this journaling method in it that I started doing, and that is what really like developed my relationship with God. And through that, God just kept putting resources and people and information into my life through podcasts and digital products that really helped me change the trajectory of my life and my family. And so by the time I had gotten let go from the clinic, like, yes, it was really painful, but I really quickly shifted into entrepreneurship. And I was like, it was really hard. I mean, it took me like months to really get over that, but I took it as like this is a blessing and this is necessary. And the cool thing is, as a sports medicine physician that I worked with at the time, she ended up investing in the first 3 years of my gift box company. She ended up investing quite a like thousands of dollars into helping get it launched and help me be successful. And so, um, yeah, it was all just a blessing. And I think we were meant to be connected, for a reason. And then that propelled and, continued into a really amazing relationship. And now she's a business owner. So,
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, those conversations with God, like, when he says, "Nah, it's not the circumstances. Nope, it's not your family. No, it's not that either." And it's like, when you first hear that from him, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to call you back.
Yeah. Let's just put that on hold. Uh,
But looking back, you can see that that's a pivotal transformational moment, or the beginning of some transformational moments, and some great opportunity, as tough as it is, for growth and for maturization and preparation for what he had for you. And that's where I want to go now. So you do launch the gift box for moms, and it is successful for, you said 3 years.
yeah, yep, 3 years.
I mean, that's awesome. So now you're serving, you're finding a rhythm, you're gaining confidence, I take it. It's preparing you for what you do now, or is there something else in between?
Yeah, so the hard thing with the gift box company after 3 years, I launched it with a Kickstarter campaign. So I had a whole bunch of people that were invested in the company financially and also just emotionally. Like there was just a lot of support behind it. And I remember God giving me this vision of this like oak tree that was like planted and had roots that like went way, way deep. And I remember him just saying, like, you're going to have generational impact. And so I thought that that gift box company was going to turn into this $1 million company and that it was going to, like have this major impact in the world. And the reality was, I don't even think I sold through all of my inventory. And so again, I went back to that place of what is wrong with me? Why can't I make this be successful? Right. And it was successful and that it was launched and I had sales, but it wasn't successful in the way that I thought God was gonna make it successful. And so that was like really hard to wrestle with for a while. And toward the end of that, the gift box company, I just started to feel burnt out. One, because I wasn't finding fulfillment and just putting a bunch of products and services in a box and shipping them off. I wanted to create actual transformation for people. And I realized that these moms were getting free massages and manicures and pedicures gifted to them, and they weren't cashing them in. And so as I started to have conversations, I realized that it was really like the mental, like the mindset of it, right? Like they felt guilty asking for somebody to babysit, or they felt bad leaving
Mm.
their kids. They felt like they were a bad mom if, they would go take care of themselves. And so there was so much um, a mental piece to it that I realized like, okay, we've got to go deep. There's deeper here. Like just shipping off products and services isn't going to change their life. And that's really what I wanted to do, was to change their life. And so, um, I also had a really hard time being like I had little my youngest was still at home, and so I was trying to run a business at the same time as having him home. I had all these opportunities with hospitals and all these different things, and I couldn't get the motivation. I didn't feel like I had the capacity to do it. I had people that were asking me to put on things that like I'm like I don't have the resources or the knowledge to help in these things. One of the gift boxes that we had was for miscarriages, and so people started asking me to do like grief things, and I was like, that is not my right. Like that's so far outside of my realm. And so I started to transition into coaching, and I thought I could do both. And when I first transitioned into coaching, my goal was to coach mompreneurs. So moms who had businesses. And I thought, oh, this will pair perfect, right? I have a gift box for moms, and I have coaching mompreneurs. And I realized that trying to put my time and energy into, because they're totally different things. One's a product, one's a service. Like how do I market both of these and do it well? And so it got to a point where I had to make a choice. And it took I had a mastermind, and I remember talking to the ladies, and I was just feeling like so stuck. Like I just didn't know what to do. And one of the other gals on there, she was like, Cheree, I think you know what to do deep down. And I was like, you're right, I do. I know that I need to let go of the gift box company. But it was like, do I sell it? Do I get an evaluation? Do I sell off the inventory? Do I just stop? Plus, I had all these people that were invested in it mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, that had helped me get it to the point where it was. It was really hard to make that transition and let that go. But I was like, I have to. And so I ended up finding another local gal that did gift boxes, and I sold all my inventory to her. And I ended up giving away, the boxes I had to different people over the years. But it took me a long time to let that go, especially because I felt like it was so deep in my, like ingrained in me, that like I felt like God had given me this vision. But hindsight, that vision was what I could do, not what the gift box company could do. And so yeah, so then that transitioned. I had coached mompreneurs for a while, and I realized that that wasn't really my greatest skill set. Like, yes, I could help moms, but they at that stage they needed somebody who could help them launch a business. I realized that that's not really where my gift is. It's not in helping launch a business. It's coming into the businesses who are already successful and they're feeling exhausted and burnt out. And how do you like what do you do? Like how do you move forward from there? So it's been a huge evolution over time, and I feel like every year it changes a little bit
Mm.
of where God's taking me. And I've just learned to kind of go with it and not get so stuck on one specific thing.
I do think it's fascinating, if I heard you right, the things that were in the basket and some of the mom's reaction, or I'm not worthy of this, or I can't take the time to do this, or I could never do that, kind of bundled up in that sense of duty. I got to do this first, deny myself, you know, uh, some of those underlying heart core foundational issues is what you end up coaching to.
Yeah.
I think that is fascinating. And then, obviously I'm picking up the pace just a tad in terms of, because I really want to hear what you're doing now and you're I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong, you're in your sweet spot now, right? You're giving keynotes. You said earlier you didn't want to be talking, and how funny that is now.
Yeah.
Now you want to be talking more,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Give me all the
Uh,
things.
right. Um, and what? Tell me again the name of your framework,
The ramp method.
the RAMP method. Tell us a little bit about the RAMP method and how you're using that to help organizations.
Yeah. Yeah, so my background is sports medicine, sports psychology. And in sports, they follow what's called periodization, especially when you're in college, elite level, Olympic level sports. They have what they call as periodization. And so that periodization is they look at, let's just take an Olympic swimmer, for example, and they have a 4-year training plan. And they know, okay, Olympics are going to be in 2027. I don't know when the next ones are, but let's just say 2027, right? And so they know what competitions that they need to peak at to qualify to try out for the Olympic team.
Mm,
And so everything they do over that 4-year plan is in alignment to peak at certain times, right? But they also have to rest. And college is a really good example and way to explain this. If you look at college sports or if you've ever played any sort of sports, there's usually an off season. It's the off season is getting smaller and smaller now, which I won't go into that soapbox. But it's designed to be a 3-to-1 rest to performance ratio, meaning they have a rest season. It doesn't mean they're couch potatoes doing nothing. It means that they're still active, shooting hoops, swimming, doing whatever, keeping conditioning up, but it's at a lower intensity. And then they come back into school and their season is starting, and that's what we call preseason. And that's where they're learning foundational skills. They're learning how to work as a team, who's going to play in what position. And they're competing, but it's internal competing within their team. Then they move into their competition season. They have all the skills. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be at. Now they're competing against their opponents, right? And that it becomes more about the mental game because they have the skill set. They know what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to be. But the anxiety, the performance anxiety, right? That starts to kick in, and that's where the kind of the sports psychology piece comes into it. The example I like to give is if you've ever watched the Olympics and you see a track athlete and the gun goes off and they have a false start. It's not because they haven't heard the gun go off a million times, right? It's because of the performance anxiety. It's because of the anticipation. And so they have to do, elite athletes do a lot of mental work to perform at the level, probably just as much mental work as they do physical work, right? If they only do that physical piece and they don't have the mental, they're not going to perform well, especially at an Olympic elite level. So that's a huge piece of it. And I find that in business, we're missing such a huge piece of that. We get so focused on the strategy and the funnels and the websites and the logos, and all of those things are important. But if you don't have the foundational belief or the tools to work on that and to know how to perform at that level, you're not going to see the results that you want, right? So, and then they move into the peak season, and that is the post competition. So that's Super Bowl, March Madness, right? That's where you want to peak and be at your best. So from a physical standpoint, weight training wise, the things that they're doing, everything is really intentional in the season to how much intensity that they're lifting versus in season versus off season, right? So the whole goal is to get them to peak, like they need to be good enough, they need to be good enough and compete good enough, right? To make it to the post game finals. Like that's what it's all about, is winning the championship, right? And so there's this whole science behind it. And I thought if this works in the sports world to produce Olympic gold medalists and elite athletes, why not bring this into the business world and teach business owners how to structure their year, their month, their week, their day like an athlete does, so that they have permission to rest and that they understand the psychology that in order to have sustainable peak performance, you have to have recovery, right? And we understand this from a physical standpoint because you can only push your body physically so much until your body's like, okay, I'm done, right? But in business, we just keep pushing and pushing, and we push past our capacity and our limits till we're physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted. Maybe our relationships are suffering. And so when I say success without sacrifice, people are always like, sure, you have to sacrifice something for success. 100%. But you get to choose what to sacrifice, right? Instead of just setting this goal and sacrificing everything to get there, thinking once I hit this goal, then I'll take care of myself. Then I'll spend more time with my family. Then I'll have the money to do the things, right? And so it's always like the waiting to get there. And so the ramp method really teaches people like, how do you take this system that's been really successful and scientifically proven in the sports world and apply it to your business? And it allows you actually to maintain that peak performance and understand when to push the gas and when to let go. Because I find as high performers and the business owners, all we know how to do is to push the gas. And if we're not pushing the gas, then we're not worthy, right?
Oh, there it is. So are you are you working more with entrepreneurs or more corporate organizations?
So more entrepreneurs, yeah, business owners. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
do I've done speaking engagements for corporations, but the rant method is more at a personal level. It's a little bit harder to go into a huge organization and go, yo, you need to change your whole structure toward this, right? Whereas a business owner, we can create seasons within their business and go, here's what you're focusing on this season, and here's what you're not focusing on, right? Down to marketing, hiring, not hiring, getting systems set up, all based on the industry that you're in, because every industry is different. And I think the fascinating thing is if we really look, every single industry has busy seasons and they have slow seasons. And when the slow seasons come, it's that anxiety that like we've got to push harder, right? Instead of just allowing yourself to rest, allow your team to rest. Because the reality is like sunscreen is a very seasonal business, right? Like you're probably not going to sell, maybe you're going to sell a little bit of sunscreen in the winter time if somebody's going to Hawaii, but your sunscreen sales are going to be much lower in the wintertime, and you're not going to change people's mind about that. It's just the reality is it's just not going to change, right? So
Yeah.
instead of trying to force something, we get to allow it and identify what's happening in each of the seasons and what are you focusing on, and not just business wise, but also like personally in your life. Because those slower seasons, guess what? That's a great time to invest in your family, because when it's busy, you're not going to have as much time for your family. And that's okay because you've just spent time with your family and the people that are important to you in your life and taking care of your health. So,
Yeah, as you were describing it earlier, I was like, yeah, I don't think too many CEOs are going to go for this. Although, mad respect for the one that would be open to the
yeah,
idea.
right.
Um, I want here in a second. I'm going to ask you to tell folks where they can find out where to find the amazing work that you're doing online. But before we do that, I want to have a little exercise with you.
Yeah.
I want you to think about take a sampling of your clientele, and I want you to think of 3 words. And this is hard because it's just the 3 words. Think of 3 words to what they would describe to you that they're feeling before working with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Exhausted, apathetic, like just lacking motivation, lacking passion. Um, and this isn't an emotion, but a lot of what I hear is like they want to burn their business down. So it kind of depends on the level of the business, but frustration, if they're earlier
Hmm.
on and they're not seeing the results, like frustration is a big one too. But if they're more seasoned, they're, maybe 3 to 5 years into business, it's like they just want to burn their business down. And they're just like, what's the point? Like, why did I even do this? So
Well, yeah, frustration is low level anger. So, is it all out anger or is it frustration?
I don't think I think it's frustration because they're frustrated that they're working so hard and not seeing the results that they want. And maybe the deeper down, right, there's some anger, and a lot of times toward themselves, like frustration with themselves, like, why can't I just do the thing? Or why
Yep.
can't I just get the results that I want?
Yep.
So it kind of depends on what level of business they're at. I work with, people who are her earlier on, and that's a lot of like uncovering like what, maybe they've been in business for 2 or 3 years, but they're not seeing the results. And so that's a lot of identity, a lot of identity work. Like, what are the blocks that are keeping you stuck? And then I have business owners that they're they have teams, they're heavy in the operations. They know they need to move into more of a CEO role and delegate, but they don't know how, right? Like they're stuck. That's their comfort zone of the operations, and being able to trust and delegate is really challenging. And then we kind of have like that CEO, like they have a team in place. The team is doing really well. They've moved more into that CEO role. And now it's more about leadership and impact and legacy. And, how do you go from there? So I would say it, it, it's different depending on the level that they're at, but all of it, I would say all of it really, doesn't matter what level you at, all of it really comes down to the belief that you have within yourself and how you're operating. Because um, if you believe that you can't trust other people, that you're the only one that can do it the right way, you're going to stay exhausted and burnt out because you're never going to
Yep.
trust your team, right?
Yep.
For a newer business owner, the belief is maybe they're not worthy or they're afraid of success or failure. And then you have the CEO version, and that's what are maybe the pain and the traumas that you've pushed down for so long that are actually affecting your leadership or affecting you from going out and speaking and writing and putting yourself out there in a vulnerable way. So
Exactly. So the same sampling of your clientele that is exhausted, apathetic, and frustrated. They work with you, they get to immerse themselves into the ramp method. Do I got that right?
yeah, you got it.
What would be the three descriptive words they would say on the other side?
Ooh, light at the end of the tunnel.
What
Uh,
yeah, let's get that down to one word. What is that?
yeah, probably, I'm gonna say joy,
Hmm. Okay.
joy, fulfillment, and peace.
Oh, wow. So check this out, because I know you wouldn't have done this because you're not going to brag on yourself, but I'm here to brag on you. Work with Cherie and her ramp method, and you too can go from exhausted to joy, from apathetic to fulfillment, from frustrated to peace. That's night and day, folks. That is night and day, and that's just a small hint of the amazing work that Cherie is doing with her clients. And with that said, tell folks where they can learn more about you and more about the amazing work that you're doing, where they can find you.
Yeah, the best place to find me is on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, all at Cheree Sauer Coaching. You can also find me Success Without Sacrifice Coaching, but my personal profile is Cheree Sauer Coaching. That's the best place. Facebook is where I hang out the most. So if you want to send me a direct message, that's where you're most likely to hear back from me. But I do try to check my other platforms regularly as well.
We'll have all her social media links in the show notes when we're done. My last question for you is, well, it's a two-parter. Um, when when you went to be a stay-at-home mom, how old were you?
I was, gosh, let's see, 30, 31, maybe 33. I had my first son when I was 30. So yeah, 33, I think.
There's been a lot of life experiences that have come since then. There's been a lot of growth. There's been a lot of wisdom added. There's been some heartache along the way, I'm sure. But what would Cheree of today. Cheree of Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. What would she say to 33-year-old Cheree?
Oh gosh. Um, you are worthy without your achievements.
That's so gold. I got to write that down. That is so good. Wow, without your achievements. I don't think you even know this, but this is perfect timing to articulate it. I quite often will remind our viewers that whatever they've been through, and most folks have been through a lot,
Yeah.
and we never want to minimize what somebody's been through. Whatever you've been through, I'm talking to Sheree, I'm talking to me, I'm talking to everybody. You were worthy in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it because what you went through stunk, right? But you were worthy then. And whatever you're working on now, maybe it's a promotion, maybe it's another degree, maybe it's a new relationship, maybe it's you want to run a marathon. Whatever it is for you, keep doing that. Keep working towards that. Keep praying towards that. Go for it with everything you got. But here's a news flash: you don't become worthy when it all happens for you. You're worthy right now while you're working and praying on it. So I don't even know if you knew that, but that's one of the things I say. And so I want to tell you that I appreciate you. I appreciate your work ethic. I appreciate your dedication to your family. I appreciate how you're helping individuals reframe the way they approach business and more than that, how they approach life. I appreciate your commitment to self-care. I appreciate your desire to speak more. I appreciate your vulnerability. This has been awesome. Thank you for being my special guest today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Steve, and thank you for just getting this message out in the world. So,
Absolutely. Guys, I want to just lastly say, I know I've said a lot. I want to lastly say that whatever you're going through right now, keep going through it. It's a chapter. It might be a hard chapter. It might be a very pruning chapter, but go through it. You're going to have to go through it anyway. Might as well learn the lesson, right? But here's what I want to encourage you with as we sign off: it's just a chapter. There's some incredible, it's in your story. There's incredible chapters that are being written that have not been revealed to you yet. And I can't wait to hear about the chapters to come in your life. You are worthy. I appreciate each one of you. Till next time, God bless.